Hello YouTube and fellow math students, this is Mrs. DeVore again. We are going to be doing the second task in the Mathematics Vision Project Math 1 textbook, Module 1, called Building More Checkerboard Borders. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to give a positive response to the following I can statements. You should be able to generate multiple numerical and algebraic expressions to represent a visual pattern. You should be able to explain how each part of an expression relates back to the pattern. You should be able to define an equivalent expression, especially after the last video. And you should be able to explain how to use equivalent expressions to highlight different parts of a problem. Here's our current problem. We have a problem that looks very similar to the last one we did, except instead of a square on the inside of our design, we now have a rectangle. We have a separate length and width, which are not necessarily the same size. However, we still want to build that same two deep alternating color tile pattern on the outside of our square. Our goal is also the same. We still want to be able to figure out how many blue tiles we need to order in order to make our pattern. So I want you to pause this video and do the following things. In the top left example, we have a length and a width that we know. And I want you to count the number of blue tiles. And just like we did for the last task, I want you to break up the pattern into easier to count chunks. Like for instance, taking out the corners or the long short method. Just think about what you did in your last version and think about how you can make it work for one where you don't necessarily know that the length and the width are the same size. Then what you need to do is, again, make your general version. So it's not done in two parts anymore. Now it's done in just one part. Do your best and make sure that you have a capital L and a capital W somewhere in your equation. Again, if you're having issues, see what would happen if you made a couple more general examples. So you have the one here on the left, but what would happen if you had a 5 by 6 or a 10 by 11 or a 5 by 3? Just play with it and see if you can figure something out. Ideally, your equation should look very similar to the one that we did in the last video. So go ahead, use that one as a guide. As you finish this task and polish it for submission, make sure that you are asking yourself the questions there on the right-hand side to make sure you're understanding what we're setting out to do. As always, if you're having problems with this task, if you are just not getting it, first off, go back to your checkerboard borders, see if that will help you. If you're still having issues, you can always feel free to talk to me during my office hours, send me a message, or even email me, and I will help you as best I can. So, once again, this is DeVore. We just did more checkerboard borders. And as always, remember to be awesome.